Greetings. Greetings, one and all. Welcome back to another session of awareness. And then the people know that there is many ways and many variations of names or sounds, our tongue, the way people speak. Okay, so I'm here with Brother Dartman X, and we're about to share a few of these variations in the languages of the people and the subgroups of these languages, and also um, more so Arawakan language, to be specific, which is really Maipurean. Okay, Maipuri predates what we say we call Arawak now. Okay, that was the original term for it, but through years of assimilation and all that, the name
Yeah,
got
that's where
to,
even the term marijuana comes from.
yeah.
Uh,
So
but
go ahead,
before we
brother.
do that though, bro, let's um let's um give some honors to Brother Wanagi and our um what you call it, our let's just for what he's going through and
Yes.
finding out that he's been diagnosed with cancer. And our prayers to him, his family, his children, and pray that the Most High see him through this safe and sound, and his family. We might differ a little in the knowledge, the ancestry, but at the end of the day, he is our earth brother. So we pray and wish nothing but the best for him and his family, and that he pulls through this, and he's a warrior as he has shown and proved. So respect to you, my brother, and the best to you and your family through these times. Yeah, bro.
Yep. Absolutely. And I want to say the same for the brother. It's a tough journey, and when you have people who love and depend on you, it's hard to cope with a situation you have no control over at times, But that's just life. I guess that's our lessons. We come here to learn our lesson. So we all on on the journey as well. So this is why, as what Dartman was telling me earlier, it's good to be a righteous man and conduct yourself in such a way where the younger ones can look up to you. Because at any given time, you could really transition without warning and all of that. So that's just life. We are all on this road together. We're walking it together. We need to show support to our brothers when they're going through times of trials and tribulations. So I just want to say, get well soon, my brother. Get well soon. More life. So you want to
Yeah,
start with
man.
the topic at hand?
Yeah, yeah. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Historically, we know that the world in general, we have many lands, many people, many tribes, many nations throughout history. And even though we say one people in particular geographical locations, right? We will say we are Arawakan people, or Maipurean, or Lapone, or Ahuacan, or these things. We understand that when we're using Arawak or Arawakan or Ahuacan, that even though those are many different names, Maipuri, right? Maripuri, Maripuran, or Marawan, yeah, where marijuana comes from, or Ashan,
Everyone.
or the Ashan, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, even Ashanti too. Those
the
terms
Ashan.
is
Yeah,
those are American, old American tribes that migrate.
it's
So
an Arawak. It's an
yeah,
Arawak thing.
yep.
Now, even though we use those many different names, yeah, we still understand that all those different names still come from one nation that existed on a major scale at a point before colonialism and it was decimated. But even though it's one nation, each tribe or chiefdom on particular land masses, right? West Indies, Caribbean, whatever you want to call it, North America, South America, the words are slightly pronounced with a different variation in the pronunciation of the words because of the accent of the people. Yeah. In New York, we say street. Somewhere down south, they say screet. What we mean the same thing, right? We get it. It's not that far apart. The Trinidadians have an accent, Haitians have an accent, Jamaicans have an accent, Floridonians have an accent, South Carolinians have an accent, North Carolinians have an accent, the Texans, the Mexicans have an accent. Even in the Chinese language, if we spell Eugene, E-U-G, yeah, they're going to spell it Y-U-J, but it's still, and the rest of the variation, and it still means Eugene, right? So there will be Y-U-J-I-N, E, or Y-U-J-I-N, Eugene, Eugene. That's what it means. You understand? So every every everyone has their way of pronouncing certain words. Does this mean that that's the one particular way, right? Because we have different accents. It wasn't that the world was just speaking one tone, one accent, and that's it. We live on a multilateral, multi facet frequency world. Yeah. A guitar don't play in one tune. A piano don't play in one tune. People don't speak just in one way. We all have different accents or ways of how we pronounce certain lettering of particular alphabets, right? So it is a deep history when it comes to the different variation of what we call Arawakan, Aruwakan, Maipurian, Ashan, right? But go ahead, brother. Arawak.
Yeah, yeah, brother. So yeah, you just pretty much lay out the whole um, meaning of the conversation because let me get to up here. Try to share the screen a little bit if I can. I haven't done this out in a minute. Um, but anyways, it's just pretty much saying Arawak language is Maipurean, but Maipurean is in what you call parentheses, but it's the same thing pretty much. It's just that in modern usage of words, you know they alter certain things to be able to communicate with a wider um, the wider population, so to speak. So uh, Arawakan language is breakdown in uh, many different subgroups, right? But you see, Arawak is just it's, the word Arawak just mean like the Ruach, the spirit. You understand? That's what it really means.
Yeah,
No,
that's why they also have it as Aruwan, Aruwak, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Like Aruwak or Arawakas. Like some people
yeah,
tamper with it and say Arawakas, Arawakis. It's the same thing. So if you say you're gonna take one particular way of saying it and use it as an means to, you know, persuade or hypnotize people, we have thought, it could, that's a very not so clever way to handle the situation because you see, it's all about connecting back to the original tribes, connecting back to being tribal again, and being we're trying to decolonize, decolonize. So regardless of how you pronounce the word, it's the same aim. The same aim is to decolonize,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
At the end of the day,
So,
because yeah, go ahead, brother.
mhm.
Go ahead.
So yeah, pretty much like our brother is saying, it's all about decolonizing. We're in a reset. So each of us that can take back the our ancestral identity, all different variations of the created name that was thrown out there, we know that it means one thing. Doesn't matter how you spell it. We know the history behind the names, right? So because this is a reset, this is the perfect time for each of us to that is formulating or structuring back ancestral ties back to the American hemisphere. Yeah. That we um reconquer back these names. Look at even Hemok. This is called the Maipurean Arawakan nation. Yeah. And is all that means is what we call in the modern tongue today Arawak. He understands. And when people research the name and they research the reason why of that name, they'll see because of the ancestral ties. You see. So it's
Yeah,
just yeah, go ahead, bro.
yeah. Like for example, the Arawakan geographical markers, because this is why they say Arawak. These names are just really geographical markers of certain places on the landmass, certain areas, certain regions that they colonize and divide up in little blocks and little zones. So all they do is just set up a grid over our chiefdoms. But our chiefdoms extend all the way up to as far as Florida and going all the way up. And even when you say Florida, we're not just saying Florida of today, we're saying Florida of old. Florida of old was completely south, the whole southern, what you call Texas, all of that was the Florida of the old, or Casio. That's the original name of Florida. It's Casio. That's the Arawakan name, Casio. So don't think we don't know the name of our lands. We do. Okay.
Yeah.
So Casio is Florida. And you had different Arawakan um subgroups over Casio. One of them would be um you call the place Miami.
Hmm.
That's actually a tribal name, Miami. You know, you have others that are Arawakan subgroups that migrated from north to south, and because remember, we love warm weather. This is why you find our people more south. We're more populated south. The only eastern place we find us here, the majority of us, is where you call New York. And the only reason for that is because New York is nothing more than a port. At one point, it was Port Royal, was the port of the world. Now it's New York. So that's why when we migrate to New York because that's a port, right? But
Hmm.
that's one of our ancient ports. Because even in Queens, you have Jamaica Queens. Jamaica was a tribe. That was the actual name of the tribe, Jamaica. So you have to know what's going on for real, for real, for real. And then when you start to the bloodline, even the one from the where they take the Juneteenth tribe, that tribe have Caribbean um, lineage um, from the Carib, what they call it Caribbean bloodline, right? And these are the people who they slaughtered, right? That massacre. Those are our people, same bloodline. So the Seminoles, those are our people.
Yes,
That's all Arawak up in the Seminole tribe right there.
yes. And what they did throughout history, they started renaming a lot of the mainland tribes that comes from the Arawakan, Ahuacan, Maipurean nation, right? And started giving you different names to confuse you because they brought in reset people to take your history, and those reset folks is what they put on particular reservations so that you could be the one locked into what is called the project, the inner city, right? So you're locked in a box, like folks who live in New York, LA, Chicago, these cities, right? What we will call the concrete jungle, New York. But it's really a cage. It locks you in and it puts you into uh, a, um, a more subjugated environment under the jurisdiction of the corporation, of the colonial forces, right? And then it was a lot of our brothers and sisters that was down in the south that they were migrating down into these big cities, taking away your houses, your farmland, when they started hitting you with particular taxes and these things. And they had you migrating down into the bigger cities. While the ones that they were replacing you with, they had them on the reservations. They too were still under the jurisdiction of the corporation, but that's under the contracts that they signed, knowing what they were signing up for. But that was just to make sure that you didn't have access to those lands, right? They mixed in with a few of you, kept a few of you on the land because they needed the blood tie to the land for with particular ones. But the majority of us, we were boxed out. Those who were migrating from South America was forced out towards particular parts of the shoreline, then um down into the Caribbean islands, right? What are now called Caribbean islands because the land is connected. Like I've been saying for 8 years ago and now, right? And our brother here, he has overhead view print of a map, which the day is gonna come where we'll show all these things. That he can show and prove that Haiti, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Jamaica is still connected to Florida, and you can see clearly in the water from a sky view angle. So when we expose to you guys that when you research with the United Nations, they still call Haiti, Cuba, and Puerto Rico America. That when Columbus first came, these were the places that he came to that they were calling first America, and it's still so to this very day, right? These are Arawakan places, understand? So in these places, each have a difference in the dialect of how they pronounce words, right? Even though Belize, the people in Belize, they speak a strong dose of what we now today call patois, but there's a difference in the pronunciation of a lot of the words still, and you could tell, you could hear it. You see what I mean? So the pronunciation of certain words, yeah, as long as we know the origin, it doesn't really matter because every different location in the American hemisphere have a different accent of how they pronounce the words. We can have A, B, C, D, E, F, G in the alphabet, but everyone don't pronounce A the same way because of the accent. right? So yeah, bro, Arawak.
Yo, I'm trying to pull
Yeah,
up the
bro.
map. We was just
Okay, okay. All right. The Ohio player, Anna, Lacono, Anna. Freeman, brother Freeman, Anna. Original Lone Wolf, honor to you. And again, we give our respects to Wanagi and the work that he has put in over the years as well. And just again, our prayers go out to him, his children, his family, and that the Most High see our brother through this time that he's going through right now, him and his family.
on screen.
Yeah, we were seeing the screen before, but when
Okay.
you get it, then you hit the screen share.
You, you, you see the screen now?
Nah, not now.
You seen
Whatever you
this?
did before,
You seen it?
no.
Oh, what's going on here? Hold on.
All right, there we go. We got it. All right. Now to everyone,
Yeah.
if your screen looks blurred, right? If you're on your cell phone, if you go to the very top of the of the of the screen, you'll see that they have three dots. You click on the three dots and it's going to have quality. You could click on the quality button to enhance the quality, because what they do is they blur the screen and you have to manually clear it up. If you don't see the quality button, it's going to say advance at the very bottom, and then you pick the quality that you want when you click on advance. And give it in a few seconds, it will clear right up. All right, bro,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. I seen the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's an overview. I think this is like a what they call uh, 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 uh
It's like
I don't know
a
what's it
thermal
called.
map.
A thermal map. Yeah. Infrared. You know infrared, right? An infrared type
Yeah.
of thermal map. So this is from over it. So if you see the white area, right? The white area is where you see the mouse pointing. These areas are actually land covered under the water. So you see, everything was one. Even the Gulf, right? The Gulf of Mexico was actually a lake. It seems, right? Seemed like a big lake. They they what they do is dig away these lands, right? They dig it away and let the water floods the so the blue area is the coastal lines, the light blue. So they keep digging away this area and they flood in the right. They redirect the water with
Now
dams
you
and
see
they flood and push the water. Yeah,
right where he's showing. That's right where he. I bring the mouse back down a little. Come right back down. Right there. Right now. Right beyond that point where the mouse is. That's what they will also that sand dune. It's called it's called a sand dune. It's called a dune, which is also called a sea. Right. So that will be what they call like the Caribbean Sea. You see what I'm saying? So all these areas that was flooded out, and keep in mind they were purposely flooded out. Is what they did with New Orleans during Katrina. Is what they try to do to Flint. Actually, they did because they flooded a good portion of Flint, and parts of it, the water level has risen still since. Is what they doing to Portmore in Jamaica and other portions of Jamaica that you see that the beach, a whole beach disappeared, which is Elsha Beach. They've been purposely doing these things. This is what they're still doing now to Haiti, right? So it's these are man orchestrated things where they flood out these areas, but as you can see in the thermal footage, that it's still shallow to where you can see that the whole thing still connects. This is why they're in history they used to tell you that you don't understand how big Florida really is. You see what I'm saying? Because all of this region coming down into the Florida area, it's still connected. It's all still connected. All. So when they're telling you, like even with the folks from the Caribbean, that um you need certain documentations to come here, you don't. You have ancestral ties to here. The land is also still connected, which they very much so know. It's what you identify as. And this is why they throw in the whole African ideology to throw that's the monkey wrench they threw in your history and taught the young ones to accept that. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, folks. This map shows everything. And if you zoom in or you guys can make your screen bigger, you will see it even more clearly. Go ahead, bro.
Let me see if I could zoom in. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'll see if trying to see if I could zoom in here, but let's see. Uh, some reason it does not zoom in. I don't know why. Weird, but
It's cool because if they make their YouTube screen bigger, they'll see it still. They'll still see it.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I sit right there,
there you
so
go.
I'm gonna stop sharing that.
Hey, yeah, you
Yeah.
clicked off of it.
To the line, so you see how the line connects from what you call
It's not. You're not
Jamaica
screen
to
sharing anymore.
oh, I turn it off.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on,
You gotta click back on it.
hold on. I turn it off. Hold on, because I was trying to get it really good. All right, let me. You know what I want to do? I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna pull it up, blow it up. You hear me?
Yeah. Nah, it's good. All they like, even with me, what I did was I just made my YouTube screen bigger. You know,
Yeah. So I'm
I
gonna
just
download it.
yeah. Oh, sound like you're breaking up.
Yeah, but
No, what I'm saying, yeah, what I'm saying is,
yeah, kind of breaking up over here.
okay, what I'm saying to you is that all they would have to do is just make their screen bigger, their own screen. If they're on their phone, the YouTube gives them the option to maximize their screen. They'll see it. It's good. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me let me pull it up. Let me pull it up on here. See what happened.
All
Because I
right,
really
go
want to
ahead.
show you guys how connected everything is, and that you just get misled. Just misleading us and telling us that we are different and trying to create some kind of rift, you know. But it's just a people that spread it out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I'm gonna try to pull this thing up. Uh, open. I'm gonna try to pull it up. Pardon me. The computer kind of slow. I'm saying? It's kind of slow. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of slow. So pardon me. I'm trying to pull the map up again. It's just kind of slow. That's all it is. So that's why taking so long. I gotta do some adjustment on here because it's just getting a bit slow. Gotta fix it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. You don't have to do all of that because if you hit the zoom button on the screen, if the audience, hit the zoom button on their screen, they'll see it. It will come bigger. You don't have to re-download it and blow it up even more. It's there. It's good. Mind you, like, but yeah, folks, it's like everything is connected. Like the only borders is like the water divides when the water floods over certain things and the water is at a certain level, right? But under the water, the land is still connected. The land is not separate. It's still connected. You understand? So us here on the western in the western hemisphere side of the world, we move together as one people. We traded, we bartered, we married as one people within each other. Okay? We shared the waters, we shared the land as one people. But we had different accents in how we talk, in our pronunciation of words. Our accents were different and still is to this very day. And if anyone tell you it's because of colonization, the accents are have now become different, that's bullshit. That's foolishness. Like people in on the mainland, the slang that we use here and the slang that our people in the islands use in the island, it's two different slangs, but they mean the same thing. You understand? They mean the same thing. You just had it, bro.
You seeing it?
You clicked it off. You got to click
You
back
seen
on.
it?
There we go.
You seen
Yeah,
it now?
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're trying to hack my computer, slow my computer down. So that's why you ain't hearing me. It's delaying. So, but this is a map right here. Everything connected. Look, the island is connected to what you call Central America down here. Okay, it's one piece of land, and what they do, they drenched it and they reseed the land with the water by this is what they did pretty much. That's why they open up Panama Canal, you know, to
Yeah.
finish off the job.
Yep.
But this is pretty much all the coasts. These were lakes. The Gulf of Mexico. That's a lake right here
That
between the
that's like
that's a lake. These are lakes.
that's like something that Brother Freeman put in the chat.
But
He said from my research, the Atlantic Ocean was a river at one time, and the great river that they spoke of is the Mississippi, right? So it's a lot of things that was changed up because you understand that they build dams or they turn certain areas into a dammed up area that wasn't a dammed up area, so the water flow had to go somewhere, and it ended up flooding over communities, cities, towns, you know these areas where people once lived, right? Because they purposely built that dam, or there was a dam there, but how the water flow was flowing, they redirected it, right? to purposely flood out particular areas. So what you think is going to happen when a lot of these areas are dammed up and the water flow is redirected? It's going to reform the landmass. So places where lands were underwater is now going to be above water, and places where land was above water is now going to be underwater. And this is why the maps over time keep looking different and changing.
Yep, exactly. So that's just a little history lesson 101 right there for you for the subscribers and the viewers,
Yeah.
And this is always the language. So you see, it's a Arawakan language, Maipurean, and here it say the Arawakan or Maipurean languages are Caribbean languages spoken primarily in the West Indies and in North and the North Coast of South America. So the North Coast of South America is still what you call the West Indies. Is still the West Indies. The West Indies is the North Coast of South America,
Now,
right?
even let's even get into that. Yeah, when we say West Indies or West Indian, this is the Western Hemisphere. Even if they flip the map, whatever, but this is known as the Western Hemisphere. So all the indigenous people who are of the first people of this hemisphere are West Indians, right? This is why that term, that phrase, is so powerful, right? You see the Coolie people, they're called East Indians. They come from the East. You understand? Right? So this is the Western Hemisphere. So since this is the Western Hemisphere, the Indians over here are Western Indians when it's concerned to the other side of the world. Right.
Yep, and it's different phenotypes of Indians.
Yes.
Remember that it's different phenotypes. It's not just one look, but mostly the people are a copper tone, a copper color, or a dark brown. That's the majority of the Indian population over here
Yeah.
is
Yes.
predominantly dark tone people, or I would say dark copper tone people, are
Because
burnt tone people.
even amongst the Arawak people, the ones that they call Carib, the Caribs were said to be the tall ones, yeah, out of the Arawakan people. Them, the Caribs were the tall statured people. But even when you go into Saint Vincent, right, and you look at the people of Saint Vincent, some of them are very tall people. Yeah, some are short people, but their facial structure is different. Like I got a brethren of mine. He's from Saint Vincent. He's very dark skinned, very dark skinned, right? But his facial structure is kind of straight, long, straight. Like so is his nose. His nose is kind of slim a little bit and straight. You see what I'm saying? His mother, she's a short woman. Her nose is a little broad. Her facial structure is a little broad. His father is another dark skinned man. His facial structure is just like my friends, same complexion people, different phenotypes. So you have particular tribes that were short people, you have particular tribes that were tall people, and thus the two came and mixed together. Okay? So, yeah, folks. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Um, you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So that's
clear
very
now.
true. So that's just a little, yeah, a little history 101 for you guys, so you could do your own research for yourself and verify it, because these things can be verified, right? Um,
Yeah.
Once you know the most important thing is knowing who you are, meaning through your ancestral your grandmother, your grandfather. Try to, if they're still alive, you have conversations with them, and they will tell you the truth. They will tell you exactly where their great great grandmother was buried. Some of them actually know these things, and they will show you. But
Yeah.
given that the old structures have been, because a friend, not this brother, I have a conversation with him, and they said back in the day they never used to make the graves with tombs. They just used to just bury in dirt, straight dirt. And he said they used to put the ice. The person would die today, and they put the ice tomorrow, and then they keep the ice till the third day, and then they bury the body in just dirt, no tomb. So a lot of the dirt graves them got washed away, and what you call now, degraded, and they just, a lot of burial spots are lost. So
Yeah.
you have to understand how deep it is, and because your ancestral bones is in this land, this is why you feel so connected to it, right? This is why you feel so connected to this particular landmass or this region of the earth, okay? Because the vast majority of your ancestors, right? Not all the ancestors, for some people, for many people, because a lot of mixing took place where people from other side of the earth come over here and they intermingle and create new sub tribes. You know what I'm saying, of the Arawak people. Because every time you do a mix, that's a sub tribe now. You know, so you all have to just do the research, and you'll see that it's not even, it's very true. A lot of it is true. And you need to start getting the old maps. You know what I'm saying? The older maps. It's very important, because what you gotta understand, the maps are actually surveys of the land at that time. So at that time, you could know how much jurisdiction your ancestors held, right? And that this takeover is only recent, because everything was done on treaties and agreements. You understand? And this one break that agreement and overstep the boundaries. So some strike deals to push other tribes out, to take the land completely. Yeah, that's what it is. So they could industrialize it, and this is when the infiltration started, where you have one foreigner come and mix with the whole tribe, and then that one foreigner child come up now to create these deals and negotiate these deals with these outsiders, and they just come all over and mine the land up, and that's it. They just
Yeah.
terraform your land,
Yeah.
take all the resources. This is what this war is about. It's about your resources and your freedom. They don't want you to be free. They want to restrict your freedom, and while they eat all the resources and even eat you too. You best believe it.
Exactly. Well, bro,
So
they deleted your whole chat.
yeah, go ahead.
Uh, they deleted your whole chat
Wow.
from my end, from what I'm seeing on the StreamYard. It only says one person in the chat, but that's cool. Everything that you're saying is pretty much on point as far as the history. It's just for people now, to the listeners, them to go out there and really do their research and look into the information. Like, a lot of libraries are open back up now. And if you can't find something in a library, some libraries will allow you to request what you want, and they'll get it for you, right? Um, because there's so much about colonization that you got to take in mind all of the places that colonized over here, all the Asian countries that colonized over here, all the Indonesian countries that colonized over here, all the what are now Caucasian controlled countries that colonized over here, and go into their records, right? They will give you the records. It's there. It's not. It's there. It's there for the public, right? It's there. So when you go and you request these documents, these records, they'll give it to you. Some of them will mail it to you. Some of them will charge you a little fee, mailing fee and stuff to mail it to you. Particular documents they pretty much charge you for, right? But if you really want to know, and you can, and you have the means to get it, get it. Archive.org is another good site to go on to get a lot of the information. Some of the maneuvering on archive.org has been kind of limited, but if for those who have been going on those websites for years and that has managed to lock down and store a lot of the books and information, you guys already have this. If you have it and you have the means to put it out there, put it out there. You know, put it out there, right? So it's many levels to. Hold on, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. So you
Yeah,
all should
yeah,
just do the research and you'll realize that yeah, do the research. It's
yeah,
there. The
definitely.
archives, the history is there. The history, and another thing, our ancestors took on names that sound good. So if they like a name like Brown, sound good, they take it on. You understand? It's just to do, just to only it with the outside, you know. And these are a lot of these names are actually our names, but they just anglicize them, right? They were
Like
anglicized.
I mean the
So
ancestors, because to do trade with other nations around the world, the some of what you would call a surname is really a trade name that the ancestors came up with to be identified while doing trade with other nations around the world, right? And so it's not that it's not your name, it is your name. So people know when they see the name Brown, they know whose lineage that is coming from. And anyone that marries within that clan inherits now that name Brown, right? Jones, Johnson, Carver, you know, these things. This is why I tell people that your name, the surname, it means a lot, right? A lot of folks out there ran and literally changed that surname off their documents and became members of Nation of Islam, stuff like that. So they call themselves all sorts of stuff on their paperwork. And they even leave back the original name on their paperwork and literally erase themselves out of their ancestral history of the documents that was being held in the corporation's record system,
the archives.
right? Yeah. And literally have to go
You
through
forfeit
an
your
arm and a
rights.
leg fight.
You for
Yeah.
yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah.
bro.
You forfeit when you do that. You forfeit it. That's a forfeit. And when you forfeit, anybody could come in and swoop in the name and use the name and work under your name, your identity, while you identify as something else. And that's how they got you tricked because they swooped in and took up your names, your trade names, and leave you hanging. So you guys just gotta figure it out. Everything is laid out for you. You just gotta do the research. You gotta stay focused though, because a lot of distractions going on, and it is very important that you understand your tribal history or your clan history, your people, understand that who is who and who came together, and then based upon these determinations, you could actually state a claim. So that's all you gotta do. That's how it works. So we're not gonna be too long on this live. We're just gonna start wrapping it up. Um,
Yeah.
because we have things to do, and we just came by here to say share with you a little bit about our history, our people, our culture, right? So that's how we are doing it. We're just
Yeah.
letting you guys
Right.
know, give
Before
you
we
a
go,
little bit
let
about
me just
our
say
people.
before we go, let me just say that this is the time for a lot of us to truly put our differences aside, and if we're going to say and come together and in some form of unity, yeah, because what's going on now is literally in your face genocide of us, and the casualties or the collateral will be some of their people, right? Because that's just how these people move. They will sacrifice some of theirs to get to majority of us that are still here. Um, Even when it comes to the censorship, a lot of the platforms that are being censored are platforms that are indigenous platforms, right? So there's a war on the indigenous man and woman, and not just any indigenous man and woman, the First Nation people, right? There's a war on us. There's a fight against us of our bloodline, our lineage, right? So a lot of differences that anyone has had is minuscule, is minor, and we must get over it. And if we can't get over these differences, then a lot of people's going to be stuck and dead in the waters, as they say, right? So if you could make peace with someone, just go and with whoever, and you're making peace, make sure you're making peace with these people, with that person or whoever, even if it's a next door neighbor, right? You make peace because there's a bigger picture going on out here right now today. Not saying to make peace and have the person be a part of your everyday life every minute, but make peace. There's bigger things than us fighting each other that's going on, right? So, yeah, yeah. All right, brother, when you're ready to wrap it.
All right. All right, people. We're gonna cut the feed. So peace out. Um, and Stabby Media. All right. Tune into Stabby Media.
Yeah,
Yeah, all your updates about the chaos that's going on, and even some pointers on how to help help yourself and help others. Okay. So as I say,
yeah.
peace out. Stabby Media. Thank you for
And
viewing.
that's Shitabi XTABIMEDIA. That's XTABIMEDIA. All you gotta do is just Google it, it will come up. All right. So peace out.